So we just had Furukawa from Nintendo announce that we will be getting more information about their next hardware platform sometime this fiscal year. Well, it looks like we have a leaker that is giving us a little bit more of a timeline of how that's going to transpire. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now the leaker here is a Brazilian journalist who goes by the handle Brazil. That's pretty simple. And he did a YouTube video discussing what the timeline for the release of the Switch 2 would look like. Now, if you aren't familiar with him, he's the one that revealed that the Switch 2 had been internally delayed until 2025, and then that report got backed up by several other outlets. Well, there was a summary posted on a recent video that he did over at Famaboards. And to that summary, Brazil did reply to it and added one extra bullet point, and we'll go through that list here. Now, if you want to watch the video that he made on this, it is in English, and I do have a link to it in the description below, so you can check that out and take your own interpretation here. But going through the bullet point summary, first we have Switch 2 is slated for March 2025. Still, nothing has changed since the original report. Now, he had said in that video that Nintendo is just playing coy by not giving any kind of timeline for when they will announce the Switch successor, but it is still set for March 2025. And the next point, expect announcement to pan out similar to Switch 1. I believe he said around fall. Here they say September, November for a reveal. And in his video, I did take this more of he expects this to be the timeline. There wasn't really a mention that he had a confirmed source on this. And the next, third parties should be allowed to mention Switch 2 multi-platform releases from June on, even without showing it, since Nintendo has now openly talked about it. They give an example that games that they announced for 2025 that they can confirm that it might be for the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and the Switch successor, but no mention of the actual name of the system. So we should start to see some games get tagged as releasing maybe for the Switch 2 as multi-platform releases in June. Now I don't know if that might occur after the June Direct or before. And of course, multi-platform could mean it's coming to the Switch and the Switch 2, and it could be that it's just coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. So there's a lot to interpret here. And then next he says the Direct in June is the last proper Switch 1 Direct, but there's rumors about a partner Direct late in the year. Now, he added in the video that this should be the last main Direct that's focused on the Switch, and after August, he expects all Switch 2 news aside maybe from that partner Direct. Now, generally, we get a big Nintendo Direct sometime in September, so I do have to wonder if that's when we might see the first information about this new system. And then the next point here, Nintendo will announce more remasters in the Direct. It's talking about the June one. He expects Metroid 4 to be the last big reveal for Switch 1 and released this year, but he doesn't know, and it is just speculation on his part. Now in the video, he also mentioned that a remaster of Luigi's Mansion 2 should be revealed in that June Direct, and of course we would see more remasters at that June Direct as well. Now, when it comes to the Metroid Prime 4 release timeframe, he does emphasize that he has no information on this, and it's just what he called an educated guess. This seems to me to be a good guess. I just want to make sure that it's known that he does emphasize that Metroid Prime 4 being released this year is just an educated guess. I do have to wonder if we don't see Metroid Prime 4 at that June Direct. Can we assume that it's going to be multi-platform when it gets released? Well, the one thing for sure about Nintendo is nothing's for sure, so there's no telling. And then the last bullet from the summary says that he expects more leaks to come out now that the successor has been mentioned. And then you see his actual reply here. He said, "You missed the bit about an indie world in August, and the fact that I'm personally aware of a couple of multi-platform games that'll be announced for Switch 2 early on in the next semester." So I'm assuming by next semester he's talking about in the fall time frame of this year. And of course, multi-platform could mean, again, multi-platform with Switch and Switch 2, or it could mean multi-platform between PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. And I tend to lean toward the second option here. I'm thinking that there's probably some games that are holding out for some beefier hardware of the Switch 2 rather than coming to the current Switch. Now, this is not mentioned in the summary here, but he does reiterate from his previous announcement in February that he expects the Switch 2 to be backward compatible with the current Switch in software both physically and digitally. So that's obviously good news for people who want to move forward to a Switch 2 and be able to continue to play their old games on it. Now, as was mentioned here, I do expect things to get kind of crazy over the next month and a half as we get closer to that June Direct. And we have been seeing those June Directs more toward the second half of the month. Just for example, last year's was on June 21st, just to sort of give you an idea of when to expect it. And even though Furukawa said that there would be no mention of the Switch successor during that Direct, I'm thinking he's more referring to mentions of the hardware. If what the leaker Brazil here said, you could expect some multi-platform games to get announced. In fact, if you look at the Japanese version of the post made by Furukawa, there was a bit of a different wording about the Direct. Looking at the bottom half of it here, it says, "We will also be holding a Nintendo Direct in June to announce the Switch software lineup for the second half of 2024. But this will not include the successor model." Now, a strong word of caution here, this is a machine translation, so this difference here could just be a difference in the translation. But if what I see here is correct, it's basically saying that we won't get any look at the model, but it is still possible that we could see some multi-platform software. And again, this is a machine translation, so it may not be accurate. But what are your thoughts on this whole situation? Do you think we're going to see some of these multi-platform games start to get announced in June? Do you think we could actually see some announced at that June Direct? And do you think that the Switch 2 is still slated for March of 2025? Drop your comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching and be good.